Spurs fans, you've seen some bad managers. Well, you haven't seen anything yet. Hi guys, and welcome to FM21. It's finally here. It feels like it's been a long time coming, because that's how dates work. And time is a linear concept. So I suppose the first question you may have is, why Tottenham Hotspur? And honestly, my answer is, why not? But second to that is because normally I don't really do traditional big club saves, to be honest. It's not really my thing. But I like to do them for the beta because I find it's a very good way of getting to grips with the new game mechanics whilst not having to worry so much about some of the minutiae stuff that comes with the more obscure leagues, particularly when you're trying to figure things out again. I always recommend that to new players anyway. And also, as I consider Spurs to be an interesting club because they have so much potential to be something massive with the infrastructure that they have in place, the budgets that you usually get, although I actually haven't seen how much money we've got. I was thinking about turning off the transfer window for the first half of the season so that everything kind of stayed the same, but where's the fun in that? And I quickly should explain the structure of this series. Now, obviously, it's only going to be for the beta, which means it's only going to be for a short period of time. And one of the problems I always have with that is I never managed to quite finish that second season. In fact, I don't normally get even halfway through it. So this time, I've decided to take a slightly different approach to things, and that is to mimic the Fulham save I did a couple of years ago on the beta. However, at this time, I'm planning to basically show every single match we play. Now, obviously not one per episode or anything like that. We'll be able to bundle in 3 or 4 in each episode. So you'll see kind of a lot more than what I normally do, because I just want to show you everything this game has to offer, quite frankly, which means essentially it'll be a one-season challenge to see what we can achieve with Spurs. And when I say achieve, I mean that very loosely. Spurs fans, you've seen some bad managers. Well, you haven't seen anything yet. And if after you're done watching this, you fancy some more of my content, then head over to Twitch, because I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and usually at the weekends as well. In fact, definitely at the moment. I'm doing all kinds of interesting stuff over there with the Scottish national team save as well. Also, giving away a copy of FM21 to celebrate the release of the beta. There will be a link in the description to a tweet I've put out. Just follow the instructions in there and you'll enter yourself for a chance to win a copy of FM21. The winner will be announced in like 6 days' time, roughly. So this episode is just going to be having a little look around the club, having a see what's actually changed about the game, and sort of seeing what's under the hood at Spurs that perhaps we can benefit from this season. Because let's face it, they've got a pretty stacked squad in many areas as well, so we'll try to sort of use the best players we've got, maybe plug a few holes if we do have any money, and yeah, try to build a tactic that's actually going to work. That part might be revisited. So coming off the back of their worst finish for quite some time, actually, going back as far as 2014, really. I mean, arguably, it's their joint worst finish since 2009, which is actually quite poor. I'd like to think we can do better than that, but it really does depend. There's a lot of players in the last year at the club. Most of them seem to be youth players for the most part, with the exception of Danny Rose and a few others. Now, a lot of them have clauses in their contracts, which is just fantastic. You know, that helps out a lot. So we'll probably trigger a few of those just to tie a few players down for a few extra seasons. Maybe not Danny Rose, though. We'll see. Maybe he can convince me. As for injuries, though, we do actually have a few little recurring injuries, as well as Joe Rodon and Japhet Tanganga having relatively long injuries. But on the plus side, it is only July and the season doesn't start till September. So that means we've got plenty of time to get a load more injuries too. Just on the sort of bare minimum of things, looking at the squad itself, obviously we've got the big boys. We've got Kane, Son, and Ndombele's actually rated quite highly here. So that's an interesting one. Reguilon as well. Now, albeit the star ratings, they're more of a guideline. But I'm sure there's still some ways we can strengthen. In fact, on that topic, let's just see how much money Daniel Levy's actually given us. £13 million. Daniel, you spoil me, sir. Oh my God. Okay, never mind. Remember that part where I said we were going to make some transfers to fill holes? I think we'd honestly be better off building a new concession stand. That might actually be more profitable for us at this point. In fact, the only clauses we can sell would actually cost us money. So it's gone terrifically so far. My one hope is the fact that it actually tells you, which I have just noticed, that you can see next year's transfer budget. So either we're not in next season yet, and we're going to get £41 million, or they're just teasing me and are saying that if you do all right at the end of the year, we'll actually give you some money to spend. There is recruitment meetings now as part of the new scouting setup, and I don't know if there's an option to just tell them to nay bother, but I think we might be taking that one at this point. But that's fine. We get to dip into the youth, and I want to see what they're like. Just heading over to the dev center, I like the stars are white now instead of black, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure whether that's just a stylistic choice. I think maybe it's because it works better on the skin. There do seem to be some reasonably talented youngsters in the Spurs Youth Academy. Obviously, this is the under-18s, of course, but we've got Isaac Solberg, young goalkeeper, probably not going to be playing for us this year because, Lloris exists. But Rashawn Mathurin, and it will very much depend on the style of play we like to use. Now, what I'll do with the tactics for this is I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel at this point. We're going to look at what players Spurs have got and try to just sort of play them in their best positions to begin with and try to make something that works beyond that, really. Also, Dane Scarlett as a striker, decent finishing, lacks a bit of anticipation and decisions, but, he's not too bad. And then the under-23s, of course, we've got Troy Parrott, like a regular FM wonder kid, considered by a lot of people. However, he is injured. He'll be back. He could potentially see some game time, maybe, or potentially go out on loan. I don't know. He's one of those players I always see, like about 5 years into a save, smashing things. So it'd be nice if he could actually do that for Spurs for once. He says having forgotten that he's already on loan at Millwall. Okay, rip my dreams on that one. Same with Ryan Sessegnon and Ollie Skip. Okay. I had no idea that Mauricio Pochettino was a Buddhist, and he appears to have reincarnated himself as a 19-year-old right winger. I knew he'd find a way to stay at the end. And yes, I know it's his son. Now, as far as the club vision goes, they are asking for quite a lot of different things, really. I mean, they want us to play attacking football. Shouldn't be too difficult, really. Sign under 22 players for the future. That's fine. That's what I like to do anyway. Bit of possession football. Fine by me. Do a bit of tiki-taka, maybe. Maybe not. Sign English players and entertaining football. Okay, now we're starting to get a bit over the top here. Attacking, possession, entertaining English football. We are expected to get top 4 in the Premier League this year, and that is required as well. Semi-final of the FA Cup and the quarter-final of the Europa League. I'd argue that one even seems easier than that, but we will see. And they don't care about the EFL Cup. The Papa John's trophy can be binned off. I'm all right with that. I do find it interesting, actually, that the one thing that they are dead set on is develop players using the club's youth system. And that's one of my favourite things to do in FM anyway. So were this a long-term series, that would be something I would definitely focus on anyway. Not entirely sure why Daniel Levy is seemingly peeking out from under a desk here to look at me, but I assume he's just scared of my intimidating presence. We found our first bug. Now, usually you get a chance to get rid of like one of these, and I'm going to choose to get rid of English players one, just because they're more likely to negotiate on it because it's a preferred one, and it will just limit us a tiny little bit less. Although they do seem pretty set on that one. If you could, Daniel. Okay, so apparently negotiation is not something... Oh, he's back. He's back from under the desk. He's decided that he has taken the reins in this meeting and does, in fact... Okay, that he was just non-negotiable on that one. Fair enough. Probably best not push his buttons any further. Good meeting. So we can actually bump that up to semi-finals, but let's face it, it's probably not the wisest idea, as the rest of these already seem a little bit difficult. We've got some staff slots that we can fill up. In fact, we are very light on scouts and doctors and coach. Where have they all gone? Mourinho, not content with just sewing shrimp into the curtains, has decided to take all his staff members with him as well. GG. Okay, so that's something we're definitely going to have to work on in the summer. But one of the benefits of the schedule that we do have is that there's a lot of time for us to do that. Like, we've got, actually, to be fair, we don't. It's the 27th of July. We've still got time to find some signings, maybe, if we can find someone who's decent for £13 million. I wouldn't expect too much. So our overall plan for the save is a very simple one. We want to finish as high as possible in the Premier League with Spurs. Hey, maybe we'll have a tilt of the title. That's way out of our price range right now. But at least try to compete on the European front. Maybe we can have a sneaky little run at the Europa League in the background, win a European trophy, just sort of stealth mode. But the main thing I want to do is have a good time, because it's a game at the end of the day, and that's why we're all here. So let's have some fun with Tottenham Hotspur and put some pressure on, shall we? Now, I normally don't pay much attention to this, but since we're brand new at the club, and we only have one season to do this, my assistant does recommend this is the best system, and I figured that would be the case, to be fair. But we could still improve. Actually, it's not bad. Like, defensively, perhaps, there could be some improvements, perhaps. But there's some decent players in this team. And I think with the right combination, we could get quite a lot out of them. Even if we're just signing a couple of backup players, just to make sure that we got the squad depth for things like the Europa League, then that might do us, frankly. And you never know, we might be doing okay. They give us some more money in January. So with that, I leave you. I'm going to try to sort of scramble together a pre-season with some friendlies, try to come up with a tactic that has a semblance of efficiency about it, and try to work on something that we can get going with the full season start. So, next episode will resume at, well, the first game of the season. The transfer window won't be actually shut at that point, so I might still be working on spending all of that £13 million on a massive signing for us. But hopefully the main thing is to have a tactic in place that we can go into that first game of the season against Leicester City with an idea of what we're doing. I'm not making any promises, though. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? So, if you are looking forward to this series, drop a like on the video. That would be most excellent. If you do want to watch more of my content, like I said, loads of stuff on the channel, as well as over on Twitch, so go follow there too. And I will join you guys in the next episode where we tackle the first game of the season, talk about transfers in the summer, and I will see you there in a bit. So, thank you so much for watching. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.